I'm sure many of you have seen The Last Dance and how trash-talking Michael Jordan was not a good idea. Well, in tennis, there's not much trash talk, but if there is one tennis player that has proved that trash talking him only gets him fired up, and it's not the best idea if you want to see him lose, that's Novak Djokovic. For most of his career, he's played with the majority of the crowd, cheering for his opponent, and sometimes has not been treated respectfully by the crowd. The funny thing is that this does affect him, but apparently in a positive way. In some way, he is a sleeping lion that if you wake up, you're pretty much screwed. Let's see the occasions where trash-talking Novak Djokovic went horribly wrong. But just before starting, let me just say that only 5% of you guys who watch my videos are subscribed to the channel, so make sure to get that thing up. 5% is quite low, so hit that red button, it's free, and this way you will know when I upload future videos. That's it, let's start with the video. During this 2023 US Open, we saw a very impressive run by the young American Ben Shelton, who made it to the semi-finals. However, when asked about Novak Djokovic before their semi-final match, he didn't seem very impressed by his accolades and was very confident he could give him a battle.
The semi-finals, I'm pretty pumped about the opportunity to go back out there and have the same feeling that I had today against, another really tough opponent, and I've been enjoying every minute on court, interactions with the crowds, and just the tennis that's being played. So I hope that I can bring a high level again on Friday.
But specifically the challenge that Novak presents, given his history, unlike anybody others.
Yeah, definitely a tough challenge. I think that whenever you play somebody for the first time and someone who's been in this situation so many times and come out victorious so many times, that's in the back of your head, and you just know how, rock solid the guy is, and how mentally tough, how physically tough. And so that's definitely something that I have to game plan for. I also think that, it's an advantage with my game style, playing someone who's never played me before. I think that I can bring some things to the table that maybe you don't see in your normal match that you play on the ATP Tour. So I'm definitely going to try to, bring some things to the table that are different and hopefully disruptive on Friday.
Howard.
Not only this, but in the start of the match, when talking to his camp, he treated Djokovic like he was a nobody.
Yeah. Just keep looking at what he's doing. Yeah, good job. Right here, Ben. Let's go.
Nothing about him, he's just treating Djokovic like any of his other opponents.
Then, in some occasions when Novak missed the first serve, the crowd went absolutely nuts. Something very disrespectful to Djokovic, of course, but we saw Ben Shelton smile at this situation. At the end, Djokovic ended up defeating him in straight sets, and not only that, but he stole his famous phone call celebration. And even after the match, and after being defeated in straight sets, at the press conference, he didn't seem very impressed by Djokovic at all.
Of course, today's experience facing one of the greatest that ever played the game.
Yeah, I think I learned a lot about myself. He's a guy who can compete at the highest level, has a similar mentality to me on the court, with how he wants to come after you and be aggressive and show his emotion. And I think it was really cool to see that matchup for the first time, and looking forward to hopefully getting it again.
After that cold handshake, you wonder if there is a touch of saltiness in there. I'll let you guys judge that one. But if there's one particular crowd that knows the consequences of cheering against Novak Djokovic, that's the Wimbledon crowd. There are two matches that come to my mind where the whole stadium was cheering against him, but it didn't work very well for them. Wimbledon 2018. Djokovic is playing against the home favorite Kyle Edmund. The crowd is going absolutely nuts every time Edmund wins a point. In the fourth set, Djokovic receives a time warning violation that is well celebrated by the crowd.
Normal, fíjate la reacción.
A lot of people shouting stuff, coughing before Djokovic serves. Well, this is how Djokovic responded.
Game, set, match, Djokovic.
That roar says it all. The crowd was very well silenced at that point. But it seems like the Wimbledon crowd did not learn very well their lesson, because a year later, in the 2019 final against Roger Federer, again pretty much the whole stadium was cheering against him. In some stages of the match, some people were shouting just before Djokovic served, and again you feel like he was not receiving fair treatment. It seemed like he was playing against Federer, but also against the crowd. And at the end, we all know what happened. Yep, 1 point from victory. Djokovic came up clutch, saved 2 match points, and again ended up silencing the crowd, getting the victory, and a historic win that nobody in the crowd will forget. When asked about the crowd, Djokovic described some mind tricks that I think nobody in the crowd knew.
Yes.
How aware are you of the crowd as the match is unfolding?
I mean, it's hard to not be aware. I mean, you know, if you have that kind of electric atmosphere and that kind of noise, and especially in some decisive moments where you know we're quite even, and you know it's one way or another, and then the crowd gets into it. Of course, if you have majority of the crowd on your side, it helps. It gives you motivation, it gives you strength, it gives you energy. I mean, when you don't, then you have to find it within, I guess.
And that was the case here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and on the same vein, I mean, can you take that energy and do you block it out, or can you kind of repurpose it and channel it into yourself? Is it fun in a way to sort of, you know,
That's a good question, because you know, at times you just try to ignore it, which is quite hard. I like to you know, transmutate it in a way. So when the crowd is chanting Roger, I hear Novak. So that's. I know it sounds silly, but it is like that. I try to convince myself that it's like that. And
is that like a mental training, or is that something you're doing with it?
Of course, yeah. Of course.
The first episode where we could see that trash-talking Novak Djokovic is not the best of ideas was in 2008 at the US Open, where Andy Roddick questioned many of Djokovic's injuries.
When asked about his injuries today, you know, mentioning the right ankle, opposed to the left ankle the other day.
Yeah, no, both of them.
Yeah, both of them.
Yeah, and a back.
And the back.
And a hip.
And what he said, there's too many to count.
And a cramp.
Yeah. Do you get the sense right now that he is...
Bird flu.
Yeah, a lot of things.
Yeah.
Beijing hangover.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's got a pretty long list of ailments.
SARS.
SARS.
Common cough and cold.
Got a lot of things.
Yeah.
Got a lot of things going on with him.
Sure.
You think he's bluffing? You think he's...
No, I mean, I'm
The
sure.
way you're saying it seems like you almost feel that he may be.
No, I mean, if it's there, it's there. There's just a lot. You know, he's either quick to call the trainer, or he's the most courageous guy of all time. You know, I think it's up for you guys to decide.
Unfortunately for Roddick, these words would not help him at all, as Djokovic started the match as focused as it gets, blowing Roddick off the court in the first 2 sets, and giving the American crowd very little to cheer for.
Try and drive the ball more. Like that. That's 2 sets to love.
Roddick then made the match very competitive in the next 2 sets. At the end, Djokovic sealed it in a 4th set tiebreak, but seeing how he came out to court fired up in the first 2 sets, I'm not sure if those words by Roddick before the match were his best option. What this also provoked is Djokovic having a very hostile crowd, a crowd which booed him in the post-match interview.
Well, obviously, you know, Andy was saying that I have 16 injuries on the last match, so obviously I don't, right? Didn't look like it. Yeah, well, yeah.
Well, that's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, consider subscribing to the channel to enjoy more tennis videos. It's only 1 click, so make sure to do that. That said, I hope I see you guys in my next video. Peace!